Hello guys, this is Sentimo. I just had to do this again. I forgot to hit a record button when we had a session, but then I'm going to repeat the same thing that I spoke to you about. It's going to be on the market structure, and I believe that many of you with gray areas when it comes to market structure, I believe that this recording this video will be very helpful to you. After this, you will have no gray areas on the market structure. So let's begin. First of all, I want to give honor where honor is due. I would like to acknowledge Mr. Larry Williams and Mr. Michael Huddleston, ICT himself. These two men are the ones that I have been learning a lot from, and then even the market structure I learned from these two people, the basics, right, on like swing highs and swing lows. I first heard of Mr. Larry Williams from Mr. Michael, and then I checked out some of Mr. Michael material, including getting a book, long-term secrets to short-term trading. So that's where I learned the market structure. I had heard many people talk about the market structure before, but I always said these gray areas because how people picked the highs and the lows. Sometimes I'll pick them, and then some would say, that's not the major high, that's not the major low. But then the way I learned the market structure from these two legends, it helped me to clear the gray areas. So the only thing that I did is that after I learned how swing points, how swing highs and swing lows form, I took that and I went bar by bar or candle by candle on the charts to study the structure. So I did my homework after I learned from them how swing highs and swing lows form. So first here we have essentials to market structure. Like I already mentioned that market structure, it's built up or makes up all this stuff here. We have the swing points. This is the short-term highs and short-term lows, at the highs and lows, how they form. Okay, and that's the basic of the structure. So that's what we're going to be focusing on a lot. So market structure has a flow. It can be upward, bullish, sideways, consolidation, downward, bearish. And then also it has phases. It can be impulse. It can be an impulse swing where the one that moves in the direction of the trend. And we can also have pullbacks or induction. That's when it moves contrary to the trend. And then also we can have the inventory, the consolidation. That's when it's moving sideways. So those are the phases of structure. And then there are also terms to structure. There is a short-term structure, intermediate term, and long-term. But from my own experience, what I've realized, I've learned is that I don't need the long-term structure. I can work with the short-term and intermediate term, and then I'll arrive where I need to. So short-term will be my minor structure on the micro structure, and intermediate structure will be my major structure or the macro. So that's how I use them. Okay, so we also have pointers to the structure. Structure can break or the structure can expand. It breaks when it had been going down and now it breaks a key high and starts going up. And then it expands if it keeps on breaking in the direction of that trend up until we have another break, and then it changes direction. So break in market structure changes the direction. Expansion in market structure moves in the direction of the trend. But all this, these are just terms. The main thing is for you to understand how you do your market structure. So let's look at how swing highs and swing lows form. So for a microstructure or the minor structure, we're going to be using it for two main things. The first one for shifts or breaks in structure, or change, chalk, what others call chalk, change of character, and then we're also going to use the microstructure to identify our major structure, which is the macro. So those are the two main uses of the minor structure. And then for a swing high to form, instead of you realizing that, oh, that was a high after a price has long moved away from the level, you just need to see 3-bar formation mainly. It can take more than 3 bars, but at a minimum, for you to have a high or a low, you will need 3 bars at the minimum. So which for a high, the middle candle of the 3 should have the higher high, and then lower high to its left and a lower high to its right. When you have this, you have a potential high for me, but it's not a high confirmed as a high up until the low of that candle is being traded through. Whether the price closes below it or closes above it, it's not what matters here. What matters is that the price has to trade through the low. Okay. And then you see, I have my candles, my bars as in black. It's because it doesn't matter if you're going to be having a bullish candle here, a bearish candle. It doesn't matter. All you need is this 3-bar pattern. Okay. And then for a low, you're going to need the same with the middle one, with the middle candle being the lowest of the two, higher low to its left and higher low to its right. And also, its high should be traded through. Whether the price closes above or below, it does not matter. It just has to trade through your high. Then you'll be having your short-term low. So this is for the short-term high and for short-term low. Okay, which is what you need to understand the microstructure or the minor structure. Then the other variation that you may have is that instead of the price forming a high or low by 3-candle pattern, it could take more than 3. Like you could have 3 candles like that with the middle one having a higher high and higher low, but you find that that candle on the right does not actually take out our low. So in that case, we have a potential of a high because of that formation. The middle candle has a higher high, lower high on either side of it. However, because the low has not been traded through, it's not yet confirmed. So the other way to confirm that is that the price, what do we call it? The 4th candle could come and take trade through the low. Then that's when our high would have been confirmed as a high. You see, in this case, it didn't take 3 candles. It is not a 3-bar pattern, but it took 4 to form a short-term high. So that is also acceptable. And then, okay, it could even take more than 3 or 4 bars. It could take even 5 or more. Okay. So for a low, we will need the same thing. You find that we have a lower low in the middle, and then a higher low to its left and higher low to its right, but the high has not been yet traded through for us to confirm this as a low. So in this case, you find that we could have the 4th candle or even the 5th candle taking out the high. It is still fine. So then that's when we have that confirmed. So you find that it's sort of consolidated first before it could finally take out the high. Then that's when we have a short-term low. Okay. And then that's when you have our high and our low for the short term. Okay, so the first way short-term high or short-term low would form, it's by having their respective points traded through. So for a high, it has to trade through the low, and then for a low, it has to trade through the high. Okay, but then there is another formation that can form. You find that while we are having that formation that we're looking for, a higher high with lower highs on either side of it, while we're waiting for the low to be traded through, you find that the price, instead of that, inside the range of that candle, looking at the high to the low, we're not just focusing on the bodies, or we just take the whole candle from the high to its low. You find that inside of it, you have now the formation of a low with a higher low to the left and a higher low to the right, and then its high has been traded through. So you find that because of that, we can now say we have a high. This becomes a high when we have a formation of a low inside the range of that candle, in a case where it didn't trade through the low. Okay, and then the same here for the low. We could have a low, a higher low to the left, higher low to the right, and then while we're waiting for the high to be traded through, you find that instead of that, the price does what? The price forms a short-term high inside the range of that candle. Okay, so in that case, because we have a high, the lower high to the right, and then the low has been traded through, now we have a short-term high. So when we mark our structure, we can now take from wherever it's coming from to the low, and then a high, and then it goes down. So that this is two ways how a high or a low can form. A low forms when its high is traded through, or when we have a formation of another high inside the range of that candle. The same thing with the highs. It's either the low of that middle candle is traded through, or we have a formation of a high of a low inside the range of that candle for us to consider it as a short-term high. Okay, and then before we go to the charts, for a macro structure, major structure, you're not going to be focusing on individual candles like we did on the micro 3-bar candles pattern, but here we're going to be focusing on the short-term points. So that means 3 short-term points will form a major point, just like 3 candles formed a short-term point. So for a major point or intermediate or macro, you'll need 3 short terms with that same formation. The one in the middle should have a higher high, lower high to the left, and lower high to the right. And for the low, the same. Have a lower low, short-term, a short-term low with a higher short-term low to the left and higher short-term low to the right. That will form your macro low. Okay, so let's jump into the charts and do that. Okay, so we'll start over here. So I start with what I can see. So you can just pause the video, go look at it and then see if I'm doing what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to be going from swing point to the next swing point. That's how I'm going to be finding my structure until we get there. So first I will do the micro structure. I will use the red color for that, starting from this higher high, lower high to the left, lower high to the right, and then its low was traded through. Remember, the candle does not need to close up below per se. It just has to go through that low. So that is a short-term high here. And then the next short-term low that we could see, this could be a low because it has higher low to the left, higher low to the right. However, its high was not traded through. Okay, its high was not traded through over there, neither did it form a formation of a high inside the range of that candle, so it does not become relevant to structure. So we have a low here, higher low to the left, higher low to the right, and then the high was traded through on the right. So this one could have been a high because we have a lower high to the left, lower high to the right. However, the low was not traded through, neither did we have a formation of a low inside that candle, so it does not matter. So we have a high there, short-term high, short-term low, short-term high. So I'll just go quickly to save time, but you know how I'm going through. So you can pause the video or even open your chart on Euro USD and check out the same on the daily time frame here. Okay, so that will be a way of practicing. You should go through the same and then make sure that you go just from swing high to swing low. Because I believe structure has high, lows, high, lows. After a high, I don't focus on a high. I want to find a low. If ever my high is taken out before I find a low, that means that high will not be significant. Okay, so we have a high here, followed by this low, followed by that high, low. This could have been a high, but we didn't have a formation of a low before the high was taken out here. Should have at least, if without trading through the low, price should at least form a low, a proper low before we take out that high. But that's not what we see. We take out the high there before we formed a proper low. Okay, so that means we'll go there and then it goes higher again. So that's our high, followed by a low down here, then a high, then this could have been a low, but we didn't have a formation of a low, needed we to take out its high. So the structure expanded to the low here. This became an important low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. So I'm following the same pattern, you know, that I just showed you guys. A low here, and then a high, a low, a high, low, 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 high, low over there, high, low, 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 high. Remember, so you can do this and then you can zoom out, zoom in so that you see your candles very clear, right? So that you don't miss anything. Just doing this for the sake of showing you. Okay. When I do it trading, I'll be having my candles zoomed in. So here, with a candle here with the potential of being a swing high, lower high to the left, lower high to the right. However, the low was not taken out. Neither did we have a formation of a short-term low inside the candle, that candle's range, and then its high was taken out. Okay, so that means it becomes irrelevant as a high. So, but now we have to look at the fact that now it created a lower low here compared to the low. So that means our structure has to expand to that low. So instead of using that low, we're gonna use this low because this low is lower than that one, and then this low was not followed by a short-term high. So you see how I look at it. Okay, so once I have this, I can simply do this. I can zoom out a bit here, and then I hide the candlesticks here on trading view, that icon. So this is the purest form of structure because I followed the algorithm, what the algorithm was painting. So I didn't pick highs or lows based on what I think about them. Okay, so this is like structure as is. And you know, many times when we draw the structure, we'll be just drawing highs and lows that are simple to see, but we know that This is the reality of structure. It's not as simple as it is drawn many times, high, and low. Okay. So now remember, with the minor structure, we're not going to be following this minor structure for a trend. However, otherwise we could be changing directions many times here. You can see it breaks the highs, breaks the lows. So what you're going to be using it for is to identify your macro structure, your major structure, so that with that you are able to draw your trading ranges, and then you'll know your discount zone and your premium zone, where to buy, where to sell. So let's just quickly let me quickly go through the microstructure. So I'm going to paint it blue to differentiate it from the minor. I'm just going to work with what I have here. We have a short-term high, which is higher than this 3. It's the higher high, lower high to the left, lower high to the right. So this qualifies as in the intermediate high. And then we have a low here with higher low to the left, higher low to the right. It qualifies as intermediate low. Higher high with lower high to the left and a lower high to the right. It qualifies as intermediate high. So we have this on the intermediate structure. So this low, though it has a higher low to the left, it doesn't have a higher low to the right. So it does not become a point of structure for the intermediate. So we have a higher low to the left, higher low to the right. So this becomes intermediate low or a major low. Then we have higher low, higher high, lower high to the left, lower high to the right. However, it doesn't, it's not followed through by a major low. We have a low here. It doesn't have a higher low to the left, though it has a higher low to the right. So as the price takes out that high without forming a low here, this becomes structure expansion. There is expanding to the high without, we cannot use that high because it's not followed by a low. So we have intermediate low, intermediate high here, lower high to the left, lower high to the right. And then we get intermediate low here, lower high, higher low to the left, higher low to the right. However, it's never followed by intermediate high and is taken out. So we have this low to work with, higher low to the left, higher low to the right. And then we have intermediate high, a high here with lower high to the left and a lower high to the right. So this becomes intermediate high, followed by intermediate low here, low, higher low to the left, higher low to the right. Okay, so you have that. And then you'll be looking for intermediate high. Doesn't happen there, doesn't happen there. It happens here. Okay, you have intermediate high here, followed by intermediate low here, higher low to the left, higher low to the right. And then you have this intermediate high, then followed by this low. So this is how far it goes on the intermediate structure. So the intermediate structure, like I said, you can use it for your trading ranges. So let's say, for instance, here you could have a high to the low. Your trading ranges from B should be from one intermediate point to the next. So don't use short-term structure to find your trading ranges. Rather use the intermediate structure to find your trading ranges. Okay, so you have your trading range there. The price goes back to 50% before it goes down. Okay, you could possibly draw another one here. And then the price goes again above 50% into your premium and then goes down. And then you could draw another one here. The price goes back above 50%, goes down, fails to take out the low, and now goes all the way to break a range going up. So once your range is broken, you are thinking, where is the last intermediate low that I had? Because now the price is moving up. Now you have the intermediate low there to the next intermediate high. Okay, so that will be your next trading range. Okay, so some trading ranges will be bigger than others. It is what it is, okay? So you see here, this pullback doesn't go all the way below 50%, so it keeps on expanding, going on. okay, going up. So you can have another trading range here. So you don't focus on trading ranges that go down up until you have broken structure or you have changed the direction. Like here, we had this trading range. So this point to that point, it's not significant for us to draw a trading range there. Why? Because we are still bearish up until we change direction. Now you will now focus on throwing your trading ranges on the bullish legs. Bearish legs, you don't take your trading ranges there because those will be pullbacks. And then bullish range, that means you don't draw on this one, a trading range up until it has changed the direction and now it's a bearish trend. Then now that's when you start drawing your trading ranges on bearish legs. Okay. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions pertaining the market structure, you can ask me, can DM me on my Telegram. Thank you guys. I hope this has been helpful. God bless.